Okay, so here is the second review warm-up for the final. Again, we're going to start out by solving using different methods. So the first one says solve by factoring. So there's two terms, so I'm not going to use guess and check. I'm going to see if I can take out a GCF, which I can. And I'm going to solve, set each of these equal to 0. So one solution is 0. And the other solution I set equal to 0. And I get k equals -5. So 0, -5 are the solutions. Solve by taking the square root. We need to isolate the square term. X squared equals 18. It's not a perfect square, so do the square root of 18 on your calculator and get it to a decimal. It's about 4.24. But remember, we have to do two roots, so it's always plus or minus. When you have this on your calculator, it probably will simplify it. If you push the double equal sign on your yellow calculator, it'll tell you the decimal value. Solve using the quadratic formula. It's already on one side of the equation, so I know A is 1, B is -6, C is 5. If you had your choice on how to solve this one, numbers are pretty small. It'd be worth checking to see if you could factor it, but we're going to practice doing the quadratic formula. So -b, so opposite of -6, plus or minus square root of -6 squared minus 4 times A times C all over 2 times A. The opposite of -6 is 6. 36 minus 20 is 16. So that's 6 plus or minus 4 over 2. Don't leave it like that. 6 plus 4 over 2. 6 minus 4 over 2. So 10 over 2 is 5. 2 over 2 is 1. So I mentioned that you might have chosen factoring if you had a choice. If you factor this, you know that you have two that are the same sign because it's a plus 5. 5 and 1 are the only options for 6, or to give you 5, and they give you -6. So you can see why the solutions are 5 and 1, because that's what makes those 0. So again, when you get your choice, there's definitely some methods that are easier than others. Quadratic formula always works. So it says, use the table to answer the questions. So our table has all the values that we need. So we have this graph, we have an equation. How high is the bridge? So this thing is being launched off the bridge. And you might not be able to tell just by looking at the graph, but if you look at the table, when time is 0, that's where we start. So the height is 96. It says, how high did the drone fly? Well, you can see that's at the vertex, and the vertex happens when the t value is 2. So the height there is 108. How long did it take for it to reach the maximum height? So the vertex, again, when you know the point where the vertex is, that tells you two answers. One of them is time, and one of them is height. So you just have to read. So in this case, they're asking for time. So time would be 2 seconds. How long did it take to reach the maximum height? 2 seconds. How long did the drone fly? So the drone landed over here when the height is 0. And that time is 8. Sorry, they're minutes, not seconds. 8 minutes. So in this case, we had a table of values. If you didn't have the table of values, you could still do these questions because you could find the vertex by doing x equals negative b over 2a. So negative b, negative 12 over 2 times negative 3, and you get 6. So negative 12 over negative 6 is 2. So the vertex was on the table.